This video is sponsored by Surfshark. We've been tackling a major rigging refit and some other much-needed repairs over the last couple weeks at a marina in Auckland. Between the work, we snuck off back to the States to surprise family and drop some shocking news about our incoming crew member. Back in New Zealand, we had a quick haul for a pressure wash before setting off on a successful sea trial and tuning of the new rigging. As we pulled back into our slip at the marina, we thought we were ready to take off on our next sailing adventure. But we should have known better. So today we're headed off on a little adventure. We're gonna go see our new crew member that's gonna be joining us.
Let's go meet our new crew.
Being pregnant in a foreign country comes with a new set of logistical challenges. New Zealand has a public healthcare system, but as we are US citizens, we needed to find a private doctor and ultrasound clinic. Since I'll be seeing a different doctor each time, we've decided to have our doctor back in the US oversee my records. But for now, we are just taking things one appointment at a time. After my ultrasound in New Zealand, I needed to upload my image results to my doctor in the United States, but surprise, the website was blocked. That's just part of the fun when you travel and live halfway around the world. But thankfully, we have Surfshark.
Sponsored by Surfshark.
And so I just turn it on, I set my location to the United States, and just like that, the website is unblocked and I'm able to access everything I need. We've been using Surfshark for over a year now. Typically, we use it for things like accessing US Netflix and our bank accounts. We also use it when we're accessing public Wi-Fi because it makes sure that all of our data is protected and encrypted, which is really important to us. Surfshark lets you connect unlimited devices, so I'm able to use it while I'm at doctor's appointments on the go from my phone and also from right here on my laptop on One Life. Check it out at surfshark.com/sailing One Life for an extra 4 months free.
You can also use discount code Sailing One Life at checkout.
And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's really no risk for you to try it out. Anyway, now back to the video.
Nothing ever seems to go quite as we would want when it comes to boat projects. Over the last few days, we got hauled out, did a pressure wash, went into the test sail with Rich, checked the rigging. Everything was good except for a little fix on the mainsail leech line, which we took the mainsail off and that's getting repaired right now. And then our plan was to quickly install a brand new water maker, which we'll tell you all about the water maker later and what we went with and why we picked it and all of that. We'll talk about that at a later time because right now we need to go over and get hauled out again. So last night, as I started to work on the raw water side for the water maker where seawater is brought into the boat, I closed the valve for the through hole that feeds that line and started working on it, disconnecting the hoses. And even with the valve closed, water was still coming in. So it seems that our seacock valve for that, it's the generator and the water maker and one of the AC units that it feeds. It seems like that valve is broken. And the only way to fix it safely is to haul the boat out of the water. So we're going to haul out and spend a couple days in the yard here, get everything taken care of, and then hopefully we'll be on our way. We're really struggling to get the boat ready to get out of New Zealand, and we're at about the end of our of our patience. We just want to be sailing and we want to head up to Fiji, but we know we'll get it done. As we had just done last week, we untied our dock lines, backed out of the slip, and headed over to where the travel lift would pull us out of the water. Just as before, the lift was quick and smooth, only this time we would be headed to a hard stand rather than the power wash bay. And just like that, we're out of the slip and onto the concrete. And we're hoping to just be here for a couple days. So we need to dig right into it and start taking that through hole apart and see if we can get it out. I think it's going to be pretty hard to get out because of where it is. There's not a lot of access around it to put a big wrench on it. and probably has been there threaded on for about 20 years without coming apart. So it's gonna be stuck.
Doesn't move.
So close to closing all the way.
So close, but doesn't.
Being able to fully close a valve to seal off a through-hole is critical to a vessel's safety. Should a hose break or other leak develop, this is how the seawater would be kept out. We started by taking off all the hoses attached to the seacock valve that would not fully close. Not the easiest job when dealing with large, age-hardened, wire-reinforced hoses.
So Gary decided just to take a little grinding tool to the pipe because he tried to get a wrench on it and it was just too tight. We couldn't get it undone. He couldn't get it undone.
Yeah, there's no point in saving it by taking it off nicely, so I took this little Dremel multi-tool and I just cut the valve off. So now we've got the stub of the through hole still in there and the nut that holds that on, so a little bit more to try to get out, but then we'll be ready for a replacement.
All right, so the final step to complete our rigging is to lock off the turnbuckles. So the guys are here doing that now. And yeah, our rigging will be done, but the boat's not ready.
The skin fitting bonded in with permanent adhesive always seems to take a lot of coercion to remove. Well, after just a couple hours, I've managed to remove the through hole, which is awesome because I thought that was going to be a lot longer of a job given where it's at. Limited access, but I was able to cut it and pull the skin fitting, the bottom half out. So it's just a hole in the boat now, and we've got to go find replacements. We can probably source the same parts and replace it with the same parts here in Auckland, but we might go to plastic fittings so we don't have a problem with the corrosion again. We're going to try to be back in the water in just a few days. Today is a Thursday night, and we're supposed to go back in the water on Monday morning. So we'll be against the clock, but I think we'll make it. We've got a plan. We just need to find the right parts tomorrow. That's going to be the hard part. We'll see how it goes. Time to go get some sleep, though. All right, back at the boat today making some progress. I was able to remove the old backing plate, which was wood, and it's quite rotten. And I'm not going to put wood back in there. Wood is not the best choice for a backing plate material for seacocks. If you epoxy coat it, yeah, it'll last for quite a while, but eventually wood will get water penetrated, will get soft, and then it won't really be the best material for providing structure there for the seacock to not bend and break on. Some people will say to use plastic like an HDPE, high density polyethylene, or starboard. And that's okay, but eventually it gets brittle, it can crack, and also adhesives don't really stick to it that well. The best material to use is fiberglass. So I went over to one of the boat building shops here and asked if they had any scrap fiberglass sheet. They were nice enough to give me a little section of scrap, and I'm going to cut some backing plates out of that using a hole saw. Rich was incredibly generous in allowing me to use his shop equipment while we were hauled out. A proper drill press made quick work of cutting out a fiberglass backing ring. In addition to replacing the broken through hull, I decided to install a new intake through hull and valve to be dedicated to the water maker alone. Our old water maker intake was shared off of the other broken valve, but our newer water maker will be much larger and require more seawater flow. All right, I now have the dreadful task of drilling a hole in the bottom of our boat, but I've figured out where I want to put the new through hole for the new water maker and kind of put it in place and made sure the valve has room and everything. And now it's time to drill a hole down through the bottom of the boat. So I'm going to drill a small hole from the inside because I know exactly where to locate it on the inside. So I'm going to drill a small hole through from the inside out, and then I'll go around to the outside with a hole saw and cut the full diameter of the hole from the outside using the little hole as a pilot. No turning back now. Yep, I was drilling holes in the bottom of our boat in the dark. I called it a night and headed off to the Airbnb we had rented for a couple days to make our boatyard stay as short as possible. It's kind of hard to move around without floors.
So we're at the boatyard this morning. Gary pulled a late one last night. He was there till like midnight, and I just stayed at the Airbnb and edited. But today we have one of our reviewers, Brian, here with us, and he's gonna help. But he's relaxing right now. So Gary is working on the through holes and getting those installed. Brian and I are gonna be the tool fetchers, the holders, and we're also the gophers, and we're going to buff One Life's hull. There's some spots on her that we want to get cleaned up while we're out of the water and we have easy access to it.
When Brian messaged us on social media and offered to come lend a hand, we said absolutely. With Brooke pregnant, we were trying to limit her exposure to dust, chemicals, and sealants in the boatyard. So having Brian's help would go a long way in getting us back in the water as quickly as possible. And there'll be lots to splooge out, but that's okay. I'd rather have far too much. As long as it seals.
Yeah.
Together, we installed the new composite through-hole fittings with 5200 sealant to the hull. Brian stayed on the outside and kept the skin fitting from spinning while I installed the nut and valves from the inside. These new fiber-reinforced composite valves will never corrode or be subject to electrolysis and are strong enough to meet American ABYC boat building standards.
If you get sick doing this stuff. I normally pour it very slowly.
Cheers. Brian had brought along some of his homebrewed beers for me to try. Unfortunately, Brooke had to sit this one out. We had lunch in the cockpit while chatting about our sailing adventures and what life is like for Brian in New Zealand.
We didn't expect to see you this morning. What are you working on, Brian?
Yeah, the strainer's up. I'm going to put the strainers back over the through holes.
So we'll put the strainers back over the, well, first we will paint underneath. So Brian's gonna paint where it was all sanded and the through hole was put in, and then we'll paint, we'll install the clamshell cover, the strainer, and then he'll paint over that.
It seems like there are unlimited jobs to be done anytime the boat is out of the water, but we were eager to get on with sailing, so we picked a few and knocked them out as quick as we could. The handle turns that way. With the new valves installed and sealant cured, it was time to reconnect all the hoses. Brian keeps bees and had one more gift for us.
Is that actually cider and Fiji bitter bottle? I like it.
It was way more than we could fit on board.
I am sorry. We cannot take all of that, honey. I cannot.
Why not?
No. Oh, thank you for the oranges. That's awesome. Sweet. Thank you so much.
Look after yourself.
Okay.
Look after Bubs. See ya.
Bye. Good morning. It is time for splash day. So we're just running around doing some last minute things, trying to get the boat just a little bit more organized. It's the quickest haul out that we've ever done, so hopefully it stays that way. Hopefully when we go in the water, there's no leaks or anything. But it's always a risk when you're doing stuff below the water line, such as changing out through holes and putting in a new through hole. So we'll see how the day progresses, but hopefully we can get in the travel lift here this morning and then get motored over to the slip without any problems. We headed back to the water, eager to see if our new through holes and valves would be leak-free.
Looks good to me. Just making sure we don't have any little leaks either. That one looks fine to me. What do you think?
Looks good so far.
I'll open it. Oh yeah.
Leaks.
Well, I didn't reconnect that hose yet.
Oh.
That's fine though.
Are you guys just gonna try to pivot us around, or?
Yeah, same as we did last time.
Okay, cool.
Good night, what are you doing?
All right, we're back in the water. That was our second shortest haul out today if we count the 30-minute pressure wash from last week. But everything looks good. We checked the seacocks that we put in to make sure that there's no leaks. And I've still got a lot of plumbing to do to hook up the water maker. But everything's good to go, it looks like. So we'll head back to a slip today, finish up the water maker, load up the boat with food, and get on our way. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm relieved. Good job, babe. You crushed it. After reinstalling our mainsail with the repaired leech line, we motored back to our wet slip for the last time. Well, today we have a little treat in store because we're headed out on Steinlager 2 to do a little test run because they recently had their rigging redone. But the Steinlager 2 was used in the Whitbread race in 1989 and 1990, and it basically won every single leg of that race. So we're pretty excited to go check it out today.
So Rich and the guys at Independent Riggers did all new standing rigging on this boat. And it's been a little while since they did it, but they're going to get out on it today and do some testing and do some tuning if necessary.
This famous race boat is now owned by the New Zealand Sailing Trust and is used to take children sailing and teach them about teamwork and the marine environment. But back in 1989 and 1990, this Bruce Farr designed yacht crushed the competition in an around-the-world race. Steinlager 2 won all 6 of the race legs, the only time in history this has ever been accomplished. The team was skippered by the late Sir Peter Blake, an icon like no other in New Zealand sailing history. We were literally stepping onto a piece of sailing history, and the gravity of this opportunity was not lost on us. We motored out of the viaduct in downtown Auckland and out into the harbor. Steinlager 2 has an overall length of almost 84 feet and is purpose-built for serious offshore blue water sailing. On deck, she's all business, and the story is the same below decks. Down a rugged ladder, you'll find a small galley for feeding the crew, racks of foul weather gear and spare lines, and each hull side lined with 3 levels of bunks. There is also a small electronic station and table for the navigator and a very basic head. No luxuries to be found down here. Watch your head as you move around, as all the mechanical drives for the winches and the steering are right in the open where they can be inspected and serviced. Do you want me to help you now? Once outside the harbor, it was time to see what this red-hulled racing machine was all about. Grinding the winches to hoist the mainsail was a bit more aggressive than what I'm used to. A whole different world than One Life. On One Life, we cruise, we live, we take our time. But on Steinlager 2, she's an absolute beast. Sleek, powerful, and built for speed.
You're sailing.
It's a bit chaotic. It's cold. Everything is bigger, faster, and more intense. I may have been out of my element, but I was in absolute awe. This boat is more than a racing legend. Now she's also a teacher. And this opportunity reminded me how much fun it is to step outside your comfort zone. The sail was humbling, exhilarating, and challenging, all at once. Good morning. Today's the day that we're finally going to leave Half Moon Bay. So right now we're just driving Gus, our van that took us around the South Island. We're driving him over to Rich's shop, independent riggers that did our rigging. So they're gonna keep after Gus for us until Gus's new owners come, which is another YouTube channel that some of you guys might watch in the fall. So anyway, things are coming together, and then we'll go back to the boats, quickly get some things ready, and then push off the dock. After stocking the boat up with food and tying up some loose ends, we headed over to the rigging shop to drop some beers off for the boys before we said our see you laters. It's really sad to be leaving Gus, but he's going to a good home.
It's really sad because this is where our first baby was conceived.
Buy a van and travel New Zealand, they said. It'll be fun, they said. It was a lot of fun. Oh gosh. Yeah, thanks for working on our boat and taking good care of us. We appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Okay, cheers.
See ya.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
All right, bye. We were finally off the dock and sailing, but with our pregnancy journey just beginning, we have a lot of navigating to do.
Thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video, and don't forget to click the link in the description below.